Thomas was at the wharf. He was waiting for the cars of Slate. "Hurry up and uncouple these Slate cars," wheezed Rheneas. "You're in a hurry, Rheneas," tooted Thomas. "I am," wheezed Rheneas. "But I can't tell you why. It's a surprise." As soon as the Slate cars were uncoupled, Rheneas puffed away again. Now he had to collect Skarloey's coal cars. Then there was trouble. When Rheneas arrived at the siding, the cars weren't there. "Flatten my funnel," gasped Rheneas. "Where have they gone?" Rheneas was sure this was where he had left them. "I must find Skarloey's cars," he whistled. And Rheneas puffed quickly away. Rheneas searched high and low for the missing coal cars. But they were nowhere to be found. Rheneas was upset. Rheneas stopped at a signal. Skarloey puffed up. He looked very unhappy. "My coal cars have disappeared," Skarloey cried. "If I don't find them, I will have to go to the depot and tell the narrow gauge controller." Rheneas watched Skarloey puff sadly away. "I wanted to surprise Skarloey," Rheneas sighed. "But I've only made things worse." Rheneas felt terrible. He didn't want his friend to get into trouble. He knew what he must do. "I must tell the other engines about my surprise. Maybe they can help me find the missing cars before Skarloey finds the narrow gauge controller." Rheneas arrived at the transfer yards. Sir Handel, Mighty Mac, and Rusty were there. "Please help me," Rheneas whistled. "Skarloey's trucks are missing, and it's all my fault." He told them all about his surprise. The other engines were happy to help. "If we each look somewhere different, I know we'll find them," he tooted. Just then, Peter Sam puffed in with the missing cars. "I found these cars at the bottom of the hill," chuffed Peter Sam. "Do you know who left them there?" "I did," puffed Rheneas excitedly. "Thank you, Peter Sam." Peter Sam was puzzled. And so was the narrow gauge controller. "You told me the cars were missing, Skarloey," said the narrow gauge controller. He was surprised. Skarloey was surprised too. "They were, sir," wheezed Rheneas quickly. "It was a surprise. I wanted to help Skarloey, but I didn't tell anyone what I was doing. Please, can I still deliver the freight cars for him?" "Of course you can," laughed the narrow gauge controller. "Now we all know what you're going to do." Rheneas smiled, and so did his friend Skarloey. Now he knew about Rheneas' surprise. He could finally take a well-earned rest. Rheneas felt very happy. Mud, glorious mud. It was a rainy, muddy day on the island of Sodor. Thomas was glad he didn't have to work in the mud like Miss Jenny's machines. The machines were digging foundations for the new dairy barn. Isabella was driving very carefully. She didn't want to get dirty. Isabella never wants to get dirty. "Hurry up," rattled Alfie. "You always take the long way around." "I take the clean way round," puffed Isabella. Suddenly, Alfie's engine sputtered. "Help!" he cried. "I'm out of diesel!" The rest of the machines were running out of fuel too. Jack sputtered and stopped. I can't even bounce my bucket, he said. Without more diesel, we'll never finish this job on time, said Miss Jenny. The foreman had bad news. The fuel truck's broken down, he said. It can't bring the diesel. I'll call Sir Topham Hatt, said Miss Jenny. We need to get some diesel fuel to Miss Jenny, said Sir Topham Hatt. Thomas, I want you to leave for Kronk Station immediately. Yes, sir, chuffed Thomas. It's a good thing you steamers don't use diesel, said Miss Jenny. Isabella, I'm sending you to meet Thomas, so off with you, and be careful. Isabella gritted her gears and steamed off for Kronk Station, and she was hoping she wouldn't get too dirty. She saw the road was flooded. Water was up to her axles, and Isabella's paintwork was getting dirty. But she didn't stop. Thomas was steaming as fast as he could to get the fuel to Isabella. Suddenly, Isabella saw a policeman. Stop, he said. There's been a mudslide. The road is blocked. Isabella knew Miss Jenny's machines were counting on her. Then I'll drive across the field, she said bravely, and left the road and skidded across the muddy field. Yuck, she cried. Isabella was so dirty, she didn't even look like herself. But she wouldn't give up. Finally, she pulled into Kronk Station, exhausted. Isabella! Cried Thomas. You made it! Only just. Soon, the fuel drums were loaded, and Isabella was on her way. By now, all Miss Jenny's machines were out of fuel. The site had never been so quiet. Isabella sloshed and splashed and struggled through the muddy water. Suddenly, the machines heard a strange rattle and a rumble. The muddiest, grubbiest flatbed truck they had ever seen steamed through the gates. Isabella! Cried Alfie. You made it! Cried Miss Jenny. Soon the machines were full of fuel and happily back at work. You've been really useful, beamed Miss Jenny. A job well done. I knew she'd do it, boasted Jack. You should be proud of yourself, Miss Jenny said. I am, answered Isabella, but I could use a washdown.
Afraid he might be running late. Edward thinks he's getting old, but together they're strong, they're brave, they're bold. Working, working, working together, huff and puff through all sorts of weather. Edward pushes from the back, helping Henry up the track. They're working, working, working together, friends for together they're strong, they're brave, they're bold. Working, working, working together. Puff and puff through all sorts of weather. Edward pushes from the back, helping Henry up the track. They're working, working, working together. Friends for now and friends forever. As a team that tops and yes, that's called togetherness. Working, working, working together. Friends for now and friends forever. As a team that tops and yes, that's called togetherness. Working together.
Thomas chuffed along the branch line, thinking about his new friend Jack. I hope he's doing better today, puffed Thomas. Yesterday, Jack had broken the rules and had gotten into trouble. The pack was widening the road beneath the old quarry bridge. Jack and Alfie were loading Max. Dust and dirt flew everywhere. Work had never been so much fun. Jack felt very proud. He had worked hard, been very good, and followed all the rules. But he was still worried Miss Jenny wouldn't let him stay. Ned, the steam shovel, was cheerfully clearing rocks. Ned has a big bucket and a big heart. Sometimes his bucket is too full. Careful, Bumble Bucket. Sorry, said Ned cheerfully. Thomas couldn't wait to get to the old bridge. He knew the pack was working there. He could see how Jack was doing. Back at the site, the foreman shouted, "Oliver, this topsoil needs moving now!" "I'll move it," cried Jack. "Jack!" Before anyone could stop him, Jack raced under the bridge. He was about to fill his bucket when he remembered Miss Jenny's warning. Don't jump in where you don't belong. "Oliver," he said, "this is your job, not mine." "Thank you," said Oliver politely. "Well done, Jack," called Kelly. "Yes, well done," chimed Alfie and Isabella. Jack beamed proudly.